Have you ever noticed how some people seem to pull others toward them effortlessly, while others chase and chase without ever really being noticed? There's a subtle power at work in human attraction, a force that most people never fully understand, and yet it governs so much of the way we connect. It's not about looks, money, or even charm. It's about presence, mystery, and the way you carry yourself in the world. The truth is, when you stop trying so hard, when you act like you don't care, you unlock a force within you that makes others pursue you naturally. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, you'll discover a psychological secret that transforms the way people see you. Something so simple yet so powerful that it will change the way relationships work in your life forever. The first thing to understand is that human beings are wired to seek what feels just out of reach. We are drawn to challenge, to curiosity, to the unknown. When something is too easy, our interest fades quickly. But when there is a hint of mystery, a sense that not everything about a person is available, our minds start to pay attention. Acting like you don't care isn't about being cold or distant. It's about creating that magnetic tension that pulls others in without forcing them. It's about valuing yourself enough that your energy communicates independence, strength, and self-respect. And people notice that, even if they don't consciously understand why, they feel it deep in their psychology. There is also a powerful truth about desire that most people ignore. It thrives on uncertainty. When someone feels that their attention and affection are not guaranteed, their mind becomes hyper-aware of every interaction. This doesn't mean you play games or manipulate. It means you exist fully in your own life, allowing others to respond to your energy rather than your attempts to control them. Confidence isn't loud, it isn't desperate, it is calm, self-assured, and steady. Acting like you don't. Care is really an extension of that confidence. It says, without words, I have my own life, I have my own worth, I am complete, and I do not need your approval to feel valuable. That silent message resonates with the human mind on a level deeper than logic or reasoning. Mystery is magnetic because it triggers curiosity and attention. When someone feels they don't fully understand you, their brain starts to fill in the blanks, to imagine possibilities, to wonder what they could discover. This is the core of why people chase. They are not chasing because they want to control you. They are chasing because they want to uncover something rare and meaningful. And the more you maintain your own center, the more powerful this effect becomes. Detachment is not rejection, it is self-possession. It is the ability to engage without losing yourself, to give without demanding, and to exist in a way that others are compelled to notice. Every moment you spend showing neediness, over-explaining, or over-committing, you quietly diminish your own value in the eyes of others. Human psychology responds to scarcity, to unpredictability, and to calm strength. Acting like you don't care creates all three simultaneously. It is not about playing hard to get for the sake of it. It is about living with your own dignity intact, allowing your energy to communicate a deep, unspoken truth. You are not defined by anyone else's attention, and yet your presence is undeniably compelling. People naturally gravitate toward that energy because it mirrors something they secretly desire: the ability to be calm, strong, and unattached in the face of emotional pressure. By choosing to carry yourself this way, you shift the dynamic completely. Instead of chasing approval, you invite admiration. Instead of being consumed by worry, you command attention. Instead of giving too much away too soon, you create an invisible tension that draws people closer without any effort. And the reward for those who understand is profound. Not only will others start to notice you more, but you will also discover a new sense of freedom in your own life. Freedom from desperation, freedom from neediness, freedom from trying to control outcomes that are never yours to control. When you act like you don't care, you gain the ultimate psychological leverage, and the chase transforms into a natural, healthy dynamic where respect, attraction, and desire are earned, not demanded. So if you have ever felt invisible, ignored, or undervalued, know this: the power to change the game has always been within you. Mystery, calm confidence, emotional independence. These are not tricks. They are the foundations of human psychology that create magnetic attraction. And if you watch carefully until the end of this video, you will learn the exact mindset that ensures he will not only notice you, but be drawn to you in ways that feel effortless, authentic, and unstoppable. The moment you embrace this power, everything shifts. You stop chasing, and suddenly, people start pursuing, not because of manipulation, but because of the irresistible strength and presence you carry naturally. Human desire is a complex force, and understanding it is key to transforming the way people respond to you. When someone truly wants to connect with you, their attention is driven by curiosity, challenge, and the instinct to pursue what feels valuable but not guaranteed. This is the essence of pursuit. It is not about obsession. It is about engagement. When you act like you don't care, you are triggering this natural dynamic without needing to force it. The human mind responds powerfully to what seems just beyond reach, and this response is automatic, instinctual, and deeply rooted in psychology. You do not need to coax it, you only need to embody it. One of the most important principles in understanding attraction is that people pursue what they perceive as scarce. When attention, affection, or validation is easy, the brain registers it as less valuable. But when someone feels that they cannot automatically have you, their mind becomes alert, their emotions heighten, and their desire grows. This is why detachment works so effectively, not because you are hiding your worth, but because you are showing that your energy is not disposable. You communicate without words that you have your own life, your own priorities, and that attention must be earned. And when someone senses this, their psychology naturally shifts from indifference to active pursuit. The pursuit is not just a matter of ego or competition, it is about recognition and respect. When someone feels that they must invest effort to gain your attention, they are valuing you more than they would if it were freely given. This is the principle behind the magnetic power of calm detachment. Acting like you don't care is not about manipulation. It is about holding space for your own life while allowing others to respond to your energy. Your independence becomes a mirror that reflects their desire, curiosity, and admiration back to them. They chase not because they want to control, but because they are drawn to the strength they sense in you. Understanding the psychology of pursuit also requires seeing the subtle difference between desire and desperation. Desire thrives when there is space, when attention is not guaranteed, and when engagement feels earned. Desperation, on the other hand, signals neediness, insecurity, and imbalance. Acting like you don't care creates an invisible barrier that separates these two states. You remain calm, grounded, and emotionally independent, and in doing so, you trigger the natural mechanisms of attraction that draw people in. The chase emerges from genuine curiosity and appreciation rather than pressure or obligation. Another powerful factor in pursuit is emotional unpredictability. The human mind is wired to notice patterns, but it is equally intrigued by the unexpected. When you show strength, self-possession, and a sense of inner calm, while also allowing moments of warmth, humor, or engagement, you create an emotional rhythm that keeps someone interested. The balance of availability and mystery ensures that attention is not passive, but active, constantly seeking to understand and connect. When people feel challenged in this way, their admiration grows, their curiosity deepens, and their pursuit becomes persistent. The key to mastering this dynamic is self-control. Acting like you don't care is less about pretending and more about choosing where to invest your energy. Every moment spent overthinking, over-texting, or over-explaining diminishes your magnetism. When you step back, focus on your life, and prioritize your own happiness, you create an energy that is naturally irresistible. People are drawn to those who seem emotionally complete, who radiate calm confidence, and who do not rely on external validation. This is why detachment is not just a strategy, it is a reflection of true inner strength. Even subtle behaviors can activate pursuit. Pauses in conversation, selective sharing of personal details, and a measured response to attention all contribute to a sense of value. The human brain notices these cues, often without conscious thought. It interprets them as signals of worth, independence, and strength. Acting like you don't care does not make you distant or cold. It simply positions you as someone who commands respect, attention, and interest naturally. People are drawn to energy that feels authentic, grounded, and self-assured. Ultimately, the psychology of pursuit is a reflection of human nature itself. People chase what they admire, what they respect, and what they feel they cannot fully possess without effort. By embodying calm detachment, self-worth, and emotional independence, you activate these instincts effortlessly. The chase becomes not a matter of manipulation, but a natural outcome of your presence and energy. You do not need to chase, convince, or plead. Your life, your confidence, and your mystery become the magnet that attracts attention, admiration, and desire. When you understand this, you see that attraction is not about forcing someone to notice you. It is about creating a space where attention is drawn to you naturally. Acting like you don't care is the ultimate form of empowerment because it shifts the focus from external validation to internal strength. The person who pursues you does so not because you demand it, but because your energy, independence, and presence awakens something in them that they cannot resist. And when you combine this understanding with consistency, self-focus, and authenticity, you create a dynamic where the pursuit is inevitable, effortless, and deeply rewarding. True. Attraction begins with one undeniable truth. Your value is determined by how you see yourself, not by how others treat you. When you act like you don't care, it is not a game of manipulation. It is a reflection of self-respect and inner strength. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with dignity, who are grounded in their own worth, and who refuse to surrender their emotional power to someone else's approval. Valuing yourself first is the foundation of every magnetic interaction because it sets the tone for how others will treat you. If you show that your happiness, confidence, and peace are not contingent on someone else, the natural response is admiration, curiosity, and pursuit. When you understand your worth, everything about the way you interact changes. You no longer need to over-explain your feelings, overcommit your time, or over-invest in attention to earn validation. Your energy becomes self-contained, and this is incredibly attractive to the human mind. People are wired to notice strength and independence because it signals that you are not easily swayed or available without effort. Acting like you don't care communicates a powerful, unspoken message. You have standards, you have boundaries, and you will not settle for less than respect. This creates a psychological tension that pulls others toward you naturally. Self-value also protects you from the trap of neediness, which is one of the fastest ways to repel attention. Neediness is rooted in fear, the fear of losing someone, the fear of not being enough, the fear of rejection. When you act detached while maintaining your self-worth, you neutralize fear and transform it into power. You show that your life is full, your mind is strong, and your emotions are under your control. The human mind responds to this with increased focus and desire because people are instinctively drawn to those who demonstrate emotional resilience and independence. Confidence that stems from self-value is quiet, not loud. It does not demand attention, it commands it effortlessly. When you act like you don't care, you are signaling that you are not desperate for affirmation. This subtle signal is far more magnetic than any overt display of charm or flattery. People notice the calm assurance in your presence, the unshakable stability in your energy, and the way you hold your ground without needing constant reassurance. This is the essence of psychological attraction. Strength is irresistible, and self-respect communicates strength without a single word. Another critical aspect of valuing yourself first is understanding the difference between giving love and surrendering power. You can be generous, kind, and warm while still maintaining boundaries that protect your emotional well-being. Acting like you don't care is not about withholding kindness or creating distance for control. It is about preserving the integrity of your energy. When you operate from this mindset, people chase not because they are coerced or manipulated, but because they are drawn to someone who embodies balance, dignity, and self-possession. Your value also becomes evident in how you prioritize your own growth and happiness. People are naturally attracted to those who lead full, meaningful lives. When you focus on your goals, passions, and self-improvement, your energy communicates a quiet confidence that is impossible to ignore. Acting like you don't care allows you to maintain that focus without distraction, while simultaneously creating a psychological pull in others. They see your independence, and it sparks curiosity, respect, and desire. Your life becomes magnetic not because you chase, but because you live fully on your own terms. Boundaries are a silent but powerful form of communication. They signal to others what is acceptable and what is not, and they reinforce your value. When you refuse to overextend yourself or to allow your emotions to be dictated by someone else's attention, you establish a standard of respect. Acting like you don't care is the natural extension of this principle. It shows that your emotional energy is not cheap, that it is precious and reserved for those who meet your standard. The psychology behind this is simple. Scarcity and value are intimately linked, and people instinctively pursue what they perceive as valuable. Understanding your worth also transforms the way you handle attention. Instead of feeling pressured to respond to every message, to overcommit to every request, or to constantly prove yourself, you operate from a place of calm certainty. Your energy communicates that you are complete, whole, and fulfilled regardless of external validation. This detachment paradoxically makes you more desirable because people are drawn to energy that does not depend on them for existence. They sense independence, emotional strength, and self-possession, and these qualities awaken desire and admiration on a deep psychological level. Ultimately, valuing yourself first creates a ripple effect in every interaction. Acting like you don't care is not a strategy of manipulation, it is a reflection of authentic self-respect. People pursue you not because you are withholding, but because your presence signals strength, confidence, and dignity. By establishing your worth, protecting your emotional energy, and prioritizing your own growth and happiness, you set a standard that naturally compels others to notice, respect, and desire you. The power lies not in what you chase, but in how you carry yourself, grounded, self-assured, and unshakably aware of your own value. True power in attraction comes from emotional independence, the ability to live fully without relying on someone else's approval or attention. When you act like you don't care, it is not a mask, it is a reflection of inner freedom. Emotional independence means that your happiness, confidence, and sense of self are anchored within you, not dictated by how someone else responds. People are naturally drawn to this kind of energy because it signals strength, resilience, and self-possession. It communicates that you are whole, complete, and not willing to compromise your dignity for fleeting validation. Dependence on another person's attention creates pressure, anxiety, and subtle signals of neediness, even when you try to hide them. The human mind is finely tuned to detect these cues, and they often trigger disinterest or caution. Emotional independence, on the other hand, flips the dynamic completely. When you remain grounded and self-sufficient, you create a magnetic tension that naturally draws others toward you. Acting like you don't care does not mean you stop feeling or stop caring entirely. It means you choose where and how to invest your emotional energy, maintaining control over your own inner state. One of the most powerful aspects of emotional independence is that it forces others to engage with you on their own terms. When you are not constantly giving reassurance, chasing validation, or seeking approval, people are compelled to notice, pursue, and appreciate your presence. Your calm detachment communicates confidence and self-worth, triggering a psychological response. Effort becomes necessary, and effort breeds desire. Human psychology thrives on challenge, and emotional independence positions you as someone worth the effort. It transforms the dynamic from one of dependence to one of attraction, curiosity, and respect. Emotional independence also allows you to maintain clarity and perspective in relationships. When your sense of self is not entangled with someone else's attention, you can make decisions from a place of strength rather than fear. You are less likely to tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or behavior that undermines your value. Acting like you don't care becomes an outward expression of this clarity. It communicates that your standards are non-negotiable and that your energy is not easily swayed. People sense this, and it strengthens the pursuit, because they are drawn to someone who cannot be taken for granted. This independence is deeply attractive because it mirrors qualities that humans subconsciously admire: self-control, resilience, and inner calm. When you carry your emotions within yourself rather than distributing them to others for validation, you create a presence that feels rare and powerful. Acting detached while remaining kind, composed, and genuine signals that you are not defined by others' actions or opinions. The psychological effect is profound. People become more attentive, more engaged, and more invested because they feel the challenge of earning connection with someone truly self-possessed. Emotional independence also teaches the value of patience. When you are grounded in your own life, you do not rush interactions, force attention, or overreact to perceived neglect. Instead, you allow relationships to develop organically, knowing that your energy and worth are constant regardless of external responses. This patience amplifies your allure because it demonstrates confidence and self-assurance. Acting like you don't care signals that you are in control of your emotions, your time, and your attention, and this control is inherently magnetic. Furthermore, emotional independence fosters deeper self-awareness. When you are not preoccupied with someone else's reactions, you can observe interactions with clarity, recognize patterns, and respond strategically without losing yourself. This perspective allows you to maintain dignity and composure, which in turn reinforces attraction. People are drawn to those who are emotionally grounded because they sense stability, authenticity, and strength, qualities that are far more compelling than constant availability or overt eagerness. Another critical factor is that emotional independence prevents desperation from infiltrating your energy. Desperation is repelling because it signals imbalance, fear, and dependence. Acting like you don't care neutralizes this by demonstrating that your happiness and self-worth are not contingent on anyone else. Your energy remains steady, confident, and self-contained, creating an invisible gravitational pull that draws others in. This is why emotional independence is one of the most effective ways to inspire pursuit without manipulation. Ultimately, emotional independence transforms the dynamics of attraction entirely. Acting like you don't care is not about being cold, distant, or unfeeling. It is about prioritizing your own life, holding your boundaries, and cultivating a presence that commands attention naturally. When you root your confidence, happiness, and value in yourself, others are compelled to engage with you authentically because they sense that their attention is neither demanded nor taken for granted. Pursuit becomes a reflection of admiration, respect, and desire, and it happens effortlessly, fueled by the strength and autonomy that you embody. By embracing emotional independence, you step into a new realm of power and attraction. You become someone who is not easily shaken by others' actions, someone whose energy is complete and magnetic, and someone whose presence invites pursuit without effort. This freedom, this mastery over you, our own emotions, is the cornerstone of acting like you don't care. It is the invisible force that makes others chase, not because of manipulation, but because of the undeniable strength, self-possession, and authenticity that radiates from within. Silence is one of the most powerful tools in human interaction, and when wielded correctly, it becomes a magnet for attention, respect, and desire. Many people underestimate its impact, thinking that constant talking, explaining, or seeking reassurance is necessary to maintain connection. The truth is the opposite. The human mind responds far more intensely to what is withheld than to what is freely given. Acting like you don't care, paired with the strategic use of silence, communicates strength, mystery, and self-possession. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence, and it speaks volumes without a single word. When you allow silence to exist, you create space for curiosity to flourish. The human brain naturally seeks patterns and understanding, and when something is not immediately revealed, it becomes intriguing. People begin to wonder, to imagine, to analyze, and to invest emotionally without realizing it. This is the essence of magnetic attraction. When you don't rush to fill every moment with words or explanations, you allow others to engage their own minds, and in doing so, they chase without being prompted. Silence creates tension, anticipation, and the subtle excitement that keeps attention focused on you. Silence also communicates confidence. It demonstrates that you are secure enough in yourself to exist without constant validation or commentary. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own presence, who do not need to prove themselves at every opportunity. Acting like you don't care while embracing silence signals that your energy is complete and independent. It shows that you do not react impulsively to every message, comment, or interaction. This measured calmness creates a psychological pull because people subconsciously associate emotional steadiness with value, stability, and strength. Another aspect of silence is its ability to create emotional balance. Over-communication often signals neediness, uncertainty, or insecurity, which diminishes attraction. By contrast, choosing when to speak and when to remain quiet demonstrates control over your emotional energy. It allows interactions to flow naturally, without pressure or overexposure. Acting detached while strategically using silence ensures that you are in command of your presence, guiding the dynamic without forcing it. People are drawn to this because it mirrors qualities they admire subconsciously: restraint, patience, and composure. Silence also heightens the impact of your words when you do choose to speak. If every moment is filled with chatter, no single statement carries weight. But when you speak thoughtfully, after periods of calm detachment, your words land with significance. The human mind registers them as valuable, meaningful, and worthy of attention. Acting like you don't care amplifies this effect because it creates contrast. Your presence is steady and mysterious, and your communication becomes a rare, desirable event. This psychological principle ensures that people listen, notice, and value your input more deeply than if it were constant or predictable. The psychological power of silence extends to boundaries as well. By not responding immediately or by allowing pauses before engagement, you communicate that your attention is not a given. This does not mean you are rude or indifferent. It means that your energy is precious and respected. When people sense this, they are compelled to invest more effort, to engage with intention, and to pursue because the value of connection is amplified by the presence of restraint. Acting like you don't care, combined with silent composure, establishes an invisible standard that others unconsciously recognize and follow. Silence also fosters self-reflection in others. When someone is confronted with your quiet presence, they begin to examine their own feelings, intentions, and desires. They notice patterns in your behavior, and this awareness deepens their curiosity and engagement. Acting like you don't care transforms interactions into a subtle dance, where your restraint triggers thought, emotion, and admiration in ways that words alone cannot achieve. The human brain is wired to seek understanding, and your silence becomes a psychological prompt that draws attention and pursuit naturally. Ultimately, silence is not absence. It is a demonstration of presence. Acting like you don't care while embracing the art of silence signals independence, strength, and self-possession. People are drawn to what they cannot fully predict or control, and silence creates that sense of intrigue. It allows curiosity, desire, and admiration to develop without force. Your energy remains centered, your boundaries remain intact, and your psychological influence grows, making pursuit a natural outcome rather than a forced effort. By mastering silence, you gain one of the most powerful tools in attraction and influence. You create tension that draws others toward you, amplify the impact of your words, and establish a magnetic presence grounded in independence and self-respect. The art of silence ensures that acting like you don't care is not only believable but profoundly compelling. It transforms every interaction into an opportunity for attention, admiration, and desire, all while preserving your energy, dignity, and emotional freedom. Clinginess is one of the most subtle yet powerful ways to push people away, even when your intentions are good. It often arises from a deep-seated fear of loss or rejection, an anxiety that if you show too little, someone will leave, and if you show too much, you might scare them away. Acting like you don't care, combined with emotional independence and the art of silence, neutralizes this fear and transforms how people perceive you. Clinginess signals neediness, and the human mind instinctively distances itself from neediness. By maintaining calm composure, detachment, and balance, you make yourself magnetic, not desperate, and naturally inspire pursuit. The psychology behind clinginess is simple. When someone senses that your attention, approval, or affection is guaranteed, your perceived value decreases. People are drawn to what they must earn, what is not freely given, and what carries a sense of challenge. Acting like you don't care does not mean you withhold love or kindness. It means you protect your energy and show that your time, attention, and emotions are precious. This subtle signal communicates strength, self-respect, and high standards. It activates a psychological response in others. Effort becomes necessary, desire grows, and pursuit is inevitable. Clinginess also emerges when emotional boundaries are weak or undefined. People who are overly available, constantly seeking reassurance, or quick to overcommit subconsciously signal low self-worth. Others respond by taking what is given without investing in return. Acting like you don't care creates a natural barrier that protects your boundaries while still allowing meaningful interaction. This restraint does not push people away, it challenges them to notice, engage, and value your presence, which is far more compelling than constant accessibility. Balance is the key. Being attentive, warm, and engaged when appropriate is attractive, but overdoing it triggers the opposite effect. The human brain thrives on contrast and tension. It notices when something is rare, valuable, and independent. Acting detached, while remaining present on your terms, creates a dynamic where attention is earned and admiration is genuine. People are drawn to those who operate from a place of calm confidence, because it signals stability, emotional intelligence, and maturity, qualities that are highly sought after in human relationships. Another factor is patience. Clinginess often comes from a desire for immediate responses, constant validation, and rapid emotional reassurance. Emotional independence and acting like you don't care teach patience, both for yourself and in interactions. By remaining composed, measured, and self-contained, you allow relationships to develop organically. People become more attentive because they sense the rarity of your attention, the stability of your energy, and the value of your presence. Pursuit emerges naturally when effort is required and when desire is fueled by respect rather than obligation. Clinginess also diminishes mystery, one of the strongest drivers of attraction. When someone is constantly available, oversharing, or showing excessive concern, there is nothing left for the other person to wonder about. Acting like you don't care preserves intrigue. It allows curiosity, fascination, and emotional investment to grow without coercion. The human mind loves to explore what is not fully understood, and subtle distance creates a space where desire can flourish. Emotional restraint, combined with dignity and confidence, makes pursuit inevitable. Understanding the impact of behavior is critical. Every message sent too quickly, every moment of overavailability, and every act of seeking reassurance signals emotional dependence. People may not consciously articulate it, but their behavior shifts, attention wanes, interest diminishes, and the dynamic becomes unbalanced. Acting like you don't care resets this balance. It communicates that your life is full, your value is independent, and your presence is worth noticing. The shift is psychological, profound, and magnetic. Ultimately, avoiding clinginess is not about being cold, distant, or indifferent. It is about maintaining your emotional sovereignty. Acting like you don't care demonstrates that your attention, affection, and energy are not disposable. You are not reacting to every emotional stimulus. Instead, you are grounded, centered, and self-possessed. This approach naturally inspires pursuit, admiration, and respect. People are drawn to strength, calmness, and independence because it mirrors qualities they admire subconsciously, and it challenges them to rise to your level. When you combine emotional independence, the art of silence, and a refusal to be clingy, you create a presence that is magnetic and irresistible. Acting like you don't care becomes a reflection of strength, balance, and self-respect. The result is a dynamic where people pursue, not out of obligation, fear, or control, but because they are genuinely drawn to your energy, your confidence, and your unshakable sense of self. This is the essence of attraction. Not demand, not need, but quiet, compelling power. God confidence is one of the most magnetic forces a person can possess, but true confidence is subtle, not loud. It does not need to be proclaimed or displayed through words or gestures. Instead, it is communicated in the quiet assurance of your presence, the calm in your energy, and the way you carry yourself without seeking validation. When you act like you don't care, this subtle confidence becomes even more powerful because it signals self-possession, independence, and inner strength. People are instinctively drawn to it because it reflects qualities they admire and desire: stability, emotional control, and dignity. Subtle confidence is about mastering your energy in every interaction. It is present in the way you listen more than you speak, in your measured responses rather than impulsive reactions, and in your ability to remain composed even when others are reactive or emotional. When you are calm and self-assured, your presence commands attention without effort. Acting like you don't care amplifies this effect because it communicates that your worth is inherent, not dependent on external validation. This quiet power is magnetic because it is rare. Most people give away their energy, react to every stimulus, and signal neediness, which repels attention